Hey everyone, it's Paul Hamilton here from UTB. Now that Affinity is free, it is timely that I create a little tutorial. I'm on iPad today, but you can use on Mac or Windows. It's all free. You need to go to Affinity Designer, the app, and just sign in with Canva. Make sure that you use your Canva account as you go along. So let's get started. I love that I've just gone to Affinity Designer 2 here and it looks like it's all free and all working beautifully. So why don't we start with creating a really powerful visual campaign going forward. So this will be an introduction. So I'm going to go over and just go through the basics today. We'll create a new document. There's templates. There's some great lessons in there that you might like to have a look at first. But I'm going to create a new document and just talk you through a little bit about the basics and the fundamentals here. So I'm going to select my size and I'm going to choose a transparent background and I'm going to flip my document so that it is portrait because I kind of want to do a portrait design and I'm going to press OK. So it'll create that document. I can tell it's a transparent background here because it's got those little squares. So I know that when I export it, I'll be able to just grab my design going forward here. Let me show you a few things. So we've got layers, which if you're similar to Adobe products and Procreate and those other ones, you can create multiple. So, I might create a pixel level here. I might create another one. You can turn those layers on and off. If you're new to kind of graphic design, illustration, and digital, that takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's not too difficult there. So I'm going to create a couple. Oh, I'm on iPad, so I'm just going to drag in a photo off my preview screen. So you can import it the old traditional way if you want, but I'm on iPad here, so I'm just going to bring that in. And I'm looking at a mental health campaign today. This is a great one to run with students, both primary and secondary. And you can see here, I've just brought it in. Now, it's just a reference image, just so I can see and show you all how you can move those layers around. You can drag them down to have one on top of the other, and you can do some pretty cool stuff. But the reason why I've brought it in is because I want to go down to my color picker, and I want to tap on that with my Apple Pencil. So I'm going to use Apple Pencil today. And you can see here, it's actually selected the correct yellow. So that's what I want to do. I kind of want to brand it. So I love showing kids and teachers and students how we can brand our colors and how we can select colors by just bringing them in and using our color picker. And so you can see here, I can turn these layers on and off. I can rearrange them and have different things. I'm going to delete that "Are you okay?" now that I've got my color here. But I could turn it off and just have it there in the background if I needed it. But I'm actually going to slide over to the left and I'm going to delete it. And so I've got my color here so that I can start to select and play around with my brushes and my vector brushes. I won't go into vectors and those sort of things, but there's the brushes on the right. And there's lots of terrific brushes that you can choose from. I'm going with a really rough design today. I'm going to do like a face in yellow. And I'll probably use like an oil kind of one here. Why don't we go with this one here? And one of the main things that you'll use a lot, I'm going over here to not my pencil, but my vector brush. And I can redo the sizes. Now you can see it's in black at the moment. I can rearrange that from my recent, which is my yellow, and go backwards and forwards if I wanted to. And I'll show you what happens if you make a mistake. So I always like to get teachers and students and teachers just to have a bit of a play first because I want to show them how to go undone. Look at that. That's a beautiful brush. I'm using my Apple Pencil, just doing little swirls here. But I actually wanted yellows. So the thing that I can teach you the most here, the most effective, in 2 fingers, tap down with 2 fingers is your undo button. So tap with 2 fingers, or you can go up to edit undo if you're on a Windows or a Mac. I'm selecting my brush, my vector brush. I'm making sure that I'm on yellow this time. I'm adjusting my brush size using my Apple Pencil, and I'm just going to do a yellow kind of face. It's going to be really rough, and I'm just going to go round, kind of creating circles. I don't want it to be totally filled. I want it to be rushed because it's going to kind of be a representation of a face and kind of a messy and a bit of chaos and overthinking. So that's looking pretty good. If I go back to my layers, you'll notice that it creates layers the more that I do. So it kind of breaks them into kind of smaller steps as I go along, which is pretty cool. If I wanted to fill in this bit here, I'll just go over with my brush again, but I want to keep that roughness on the edges. So it's created multiple layers for me, which is great. I can turn them off and on again if I wanted. And you can pause this video at any stage and just have a bit of a play with the different brushes. Don't forget 2-finger tap, a little bit like Procreate in regard to being undo. So I want to create a mental health awareness. So I'm going to go to my patterns here. I'm going to play around with my brush size, and I'm going to go to my black. And this kind of visual campaign is for Are You OK Day. So what I actually want to do is kind of a symbol here. So I'm just going to do my circles again, and then I'll probably concentrate and do circles in the middle a little bit. So that's kind of my central brain, and these are all my scattered. This is hopefully representing overthinking, that aspect that we all struggle with, I think, sometimes, being able to switch off. And so what we can do there is I could create some different kind of overthinking little thoughts and bubbles and kind of areas here, but I'm using the patterns brush to represent my overthinking. So that's those things that are happening in my brain that become too much and overwhelming. And what I'll do here is I'll do some little mistakes here. I'm going to just put in some little kind of different brush sizes. I'm kind of playing with this. I'm doing some circles, and I'm just seeing what looks good and what doesn't look good. Because what we want our students to do is experiment with their different designs, not the first design that comes into their mind, but kind of play around with the different brush sizes and experiment and see what looks good and what doesn't. Now, I had an original thought that we'd have lots of these little circles around on my face or in my brain here, but as I do them, they're not looking so great. So I want my students and teachers to get in the habit of just doing my 2-finger tap to get rid of my multiples design. So just keep tapping that iPad or go up to Edit Undo, look for your shortcuts. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go back to my layers and see how that all works. I can click on any layer at any stage and go over to my select tool on the left here, and I can move them around or see what layer is which. So I'm just going to delete that one. That one I'm liking, so I'm going to leave that there. And then what I can do, I can start to move those around. So I could move that to a different space if I wanted to. And we can go a little bit trickier. So if I actually press on my scattered thoughts, on my overthinking thoughts, I can go up to this little icon up here, and I can do my fisheye, which means that I can kind of warp or start to manipulate my different areas. This is one of my cool features. I'm not going to show you too many tools today, to be honest, because I'm still learning them. But this one I found, and I kind of love that ability to kind of morph and warp a selection. So once again, that's at the top near my rubbish bin of my layer, and I'm just keeping this really simple. As soon as I make a mistake, I'm going to tap my iPad with 2 fingers, and I'll make sure that I undo there, which is great. Now this is looking really good. I don't like that last bit, so I'll just do a little bit of fixing up here. And once I've finished, I can start to play around with my layers, or I can export as an image file straight away. But if I click on this one here, you can see I've got multiple yellow face levels. I can go up to the top and I can just merge those layers down so that it's all one particular group or one particular layer. So if I go down there and just merge down, it's just a great way of tidying up my layers and keeping the things together that I need and keeping those things that are isolated separate. As I said before, I'm only showing you kind of the basics today. Hopefully this little project will get you started. What else am I going to show you? Oh, you can play around with some different effects. So you might put in twists for different layers. You can do a range of different things there. I'm not going to play around with that too much today. I kind of like what I've created. It's simplistic, and it's going to look great on a black background because it's transparent. So after we've finished our designs, and once again, pause at any stage this video and have a little bit of a play with those brushes yourself. Now, I won't get into vectors today. We'll talk about that a little bit later in a different tutorial. But today, just doing some graphic illustration. Now, I've got my 3 dots up here that I can do kind of further edits, but my little menu here, we're simply going to export. That's all we're going to do today, and look at how it goes over. So up the top, you can see all your different options. We're going to look at PNG, making sure that we have that transparent background. And you can see down the bottom, it's about 4 meg. So it's a reasonably good size because my dimensions were reasonably big. I can go to preview at any stage, and the black shows the transparent background. So that's looking really great. A rough oil with a beautiful pattern in there. Keep it nice and simple. Keep that symbol nice and clear in what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just go to File, Export on my iPad. On Mac and Windows, it's a little bit different. I'm going to call it Overthinking Are You OK campaign. And I shall press save, and that'll save it to my files on my iPad. I'm doing this on iPad just because I've got Apple Pencil and it's an illustration, so I'm kind of using that, but you can do it on Mac and Windows as well. So if I go back, you can see that it has been saved on my gallery page. I might go up to my menu and just rename that. It's always good protocols to show our teachers and students, isn't it? So I'll call that Overthinking Are You Okay? Just so I can keep everything together. And then we're going to jump into Canva because Canva is where we can put all our creations together and get it a little bit more professional looking. So I've created my kind of logo design for my Are You Okay? You can see here I'm on the Are You Okay website, which I might actually just copy that later and use that in my design. But you can go there. It's got lots of great education kind of ideas. Now I'm in Canva. So I'm going to go and search for a mental health poster. Always like to start with a template, even though most likely I'm going to delete everything. But I'll look in the Canva templates on my iPad app. Great lessons on mental health there, by the way. Fantastic one that you can show your students and young adults and teenagers. There's some really great lessons there. I'm going to look for something that's got a black background. Just because I really want, you can see that squiggles is highly represented with mental health. Oh, this one looks pretty good. Ask for help. This one's looking like it might be a bit of a winner. So I'm going to select that one. And it looks like it's got the yellows and everything here. So let's start incorporating our design. I'm going to click on my background. I don't think that's an individual element. I think it's a photo, but that's okay. So I might actually just delete that. And because I really want the black background, I'll go up to my color palette and just select my black. I don't think that is black. Let me go further down. That's looking a little bit better. Okay, so what am I going to do here? First thing I'm going to do is go over to my uploads. So I'm going to go to my upload button, which is there, and I'm going to upload a file. And because I'm on my iPad, it doesn't go to my camera gallery. I want it to go to files because that's where I've stored my design. If I go to recents, there it is there. Now, how does this look on the black background? Let's have a look. So it's uploading. It's about 4 meg, so I'm going to be nice and patient. And as I go along here, let's see how my design actually looks. So I'm going to hit that. Oh, that looks awesome. Okay, very rough oil. I can kind of see the oil strokes, the brushes. I can see that. That's looking really great as kind of a metaphor for my mental health. And so what I need to do now is just change some text. I'm not going to muck around too much with fonts and things. So what I'll do is I'll go to my don't. I'll just move it to the side a little bit. I'll double tap on my iPad, bring up my keyboard and say overthinking. And then I might just change the font size up the top there. I might make that a little bit bigger, expand that out a little bit, and just do some positioning there. I've got my stroke through there, so I might change that, make that a little bit bigger later. Might change the maybe opacity of my stroke through there so that I can kind of see my word a little bit better. For those people, this is more of a Affinity Designer type tutorial than a Canva one. So here I'm just manipulating the different elements. I might change the transparency on that stroke so you can kind of see the overthinking a little bit. That might be handy. I'm going to change the ask for help, I think, to Are You Okay? I'll do that in a minute. And down the bottom, it's got a website as well. So I might actually copy the Are You Okay URL address and kind of put that down the bottom as well. That might be a great thing. I'm going to select all of my objects here and just move them up a little bit. And then I'll kind of make my design a little bit bigger because I'm really happy with my face and my overthinking metaphor or my visual. That's looking really, really great. And then what I might do is just, I'll bring up my Safari and just copy that URL address. So I might just copy that. And then if I go down to my design down the bottom on my mental health poster, you can see here I can just paste that in just so that it's got a reference to that website where people can go. So I'm creating my Are You Okay new design. That's looking brilliant. How good does that look? Looks great with the black background. What else was I going to do? Oh, that's right. I was going to maybe just change that to Are You Okay? Just so that I've got some branding there, not oink. Let's go with Are You Okay? Yep, question mark. And that's looking really great. How good does that look as a quick design? I've done some beautiful designing with my pen and my oil brushes and my patterns in Affinity Designer 2. And then I could go down to apply colors to my page, but I know that's kind of going to blanket out the black. So I'm going to edit undo that. But when you bring in an image in Canva, it's always good to hit the three dots and go to apply colors of your illustration. It's a good way of getting some consistency. But when I'm happy with that, I can do a number of different things. So what I can do is go up to my share, and I might save as or download. I think on Mac and Windows it says not save as, it says download. But what I might do is save that with a transparent background as well. So I've got different designs, but I might jump into my mockups. So I'm going to go down to my apps on my Canva page. So down the bottom left-hand side, you'll see apps. I'm looking for the mockup app. And a great way for our students to kind of bring to life our designs is to use our mockups. So this is a great way of bringing in kind of set scenes that I can drag my design automatically over, and it instantly comes up on the designs themselves. I love the apparel. Students, I find, love creating hoodie designs, hat designs, a range of different apparel there, so you can use those. There's also video templates in the mockup app that you can use. I will say that I'm using Canva for Education, which is free for teachers and students. So make sure that you go to canva.com/education and sign up for your free education account. So this is looking really good. It's got a young girl there with a t-shirt design. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my design first, and I will probably go to my uploads and drag that automatically in. So you can see here I've got my automatic design. So I've exported that top one as a individual file, and I've dragged it over. I will show you how to download them as separate files in a minute, but I'll just show you this really quickly first. So I'm dragging it over. It gives me the little spinning wheel, and how good does that look? Now I can click on my mockups, by the way, and I can change the t-shirt background as well. But let me go back to the original design because I want to design everything here. I'm going to go to share, and then I'm going to come over to save as. And you can see here, I can save it as a PNG, and I can either have that transparent background or not. So if I don't click it and I just click download page one, it's going to give me the black background, which will be really, really good if I wanted to keep the black on the background. So I'm going to save that as an image here, and then I'll go over to my uploads, and then I'll actually upload that downloaded photo that I just downloaded. There it is there, and I'll go to add. That way I can kind of show you how the black comes through on that, but I can change the t-shirt design. If you click on that and click edit, you can change the t-shirt design as well. Let's go up to mockups. Let's maybe try a different one here. So we'll go to mockups. Let's take a look at what we might be able to kind of apply that with the black background. So we'll take a look down here. We've got some different video ones here. These take a little bit of while just to download, but I'll show you an example of what it looks like anyway. So if I select maybe this design, well, that's not the right orientation. So why don't I look for a video design that's kind of got that portrait design. Let's take a little bit of a look and see what we have here. Let's go with a video that's relatively short. Might go with one of these iPhone ones, or that's looking good. Let's make that a little bit bigger. It's got a lady in the background, I think, or someone talking. So what I can do there is drag over my image that I've got there. Sometimes when you use videos, especially on the iPad app, it might just freeze for a little bit, but it will go through eventually. So sometimes I just get a little warning saying that didn't, depending on my Wi-Fi connection and some different things there. So I've just dragged that over, and then it just says we ran into a problem, but it actually will come back straight away and actually resolve that issue, which is nice in regard to fixing that problem. So once again, just showing you mockups. There it is there. And if I press the play button there, you can see that the girl's talking behind or doing different things. And I've got my design on my mockup of my iPhone, which looks pretty good in the black. As I said before, you can click on that t-shirt one, by the way, and click on edit and change the t-shirt size if you've exported your image with a transparent background that's keeping all of the design there as well. Simple, easy to do. We might try with one more. Let's go with like a book so I can show you what it looks like. It's kind of like a book cover. So we'll select one of these down the bottom here in regard to possibly a portrait size again. And we'll show you what that black cover, this one might look really great. Make that a little bit bigger. We might drag over the one with the black background this time, just so that it keeps the different text. So we'll drag that over onto my mock-up. That comes over absolutely beautifully and quickly. Look at that. Oh, it doesn't fill. So you can click on the mock-up, go to edit at the top, and you can make that fill the whole page and apply the changes. Now look at that. Looks really, really great as a book cover as well. It's got all of the text in there as well because I exported it, and we're using mock-ups. So look, I hope you found that easy or easier. Once again, here's the t-shirt design. So if I actually clicked on the color, you can see you can choose the t-shirt color underneath, apply changes, and we can get some great t-shirt designs with just the logo as well. So if I've used just the logo as the PNG image or with the text in Canva, hopefully that shows you how you can work between the amazing free for education teachers and students, the amazing Affinity software and the apps that you can download on Mac, Windows, and iPad and Android. And you have got access now to some amazing free applications for your school and your districts that you can start to work between Canva in regard to polishing up designs, but you can get them doing a little bit more artistically and creatively with the amazing Affinity software going forward. My name is Paul Hamilton. I work for a company called Using Technology Better, and that's where you can find me on social media. But we love working with teachers. We love working with schools. So get in contact with us. We are a Canva training provider, and we can't wait to work with your school, your teachers, or your students.